Hello everyone, bienvenidos. Welcome to our webinar to freelance or not to freelance. Do we need to convince you that freelancing is on the rise? Today we have actually people connected from Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, Spain, USA, Belgium, and even Singapore, meaning that we are covering right now different time zones. So welcome to all of you. You probably subscribe because you want to know how you can become a freelancer, or perhaps you're already a freelancer. That's great. Congratulations. I hope the sound is good, but please do not hesitate to write in the chat box any comment if you feel that you cannot hear me properly, or if you have any comments. I know a lot of people who are not happy in their professional life, a lot of people who stay stuck in the corporate rat race, thinking about making a chance, but actually not daring. And we all agree it's scary, not to be sure, to have a steady income. The insecurity is also very scary. You have to do it alone. You have to make it work. It's never really easy. But today, I can tell you that your life can change by becoming a freelancer. And you're actually not alone. There are agencies like us, and there's also our freelance community and other fellow freelancers that can actually help you. Because we are convinced that if you don't like where you are, you should definitely change it. So welcome to our webinar. The objective today is to give you some insight in the world of freelancing and in our way of working with freelancers. I'm Jennifer. I'm working here for HRbuilders. I'm living and working in Argentina. And my colleagues are also connected from the international dream team in Europe and also joining this conversation. We also have Silvia, who's both living and working in Mexico, and she will actually help us to develop our concept in the Latin American market. Should you have any questions during the webinar, you can just type it in the chat box, and we will try to answer your question during the webinar. We also advise you to connect with us after the webinar, so we can set up an interview or video call and get to know you better. Then, later on, once there's a specific assignment, a matchmaker from our team will do a more in-depth interview with you and discuss the assignment. So let's start. What will today's webinar? We will talk about the market trends. Is the market ready? So are you ready? We will tell you something about HRbuilders, what we do and who we are. And of course, we will tell you something about our interim management, who they are, where they come from, and definitely also talk about our plans in Latin America. So let's start. First of all, a little bit about the market trends. Of course, we all know that the world of employment is changing very rapidly. We all read about this. They're talking about the technological and demographic shifts. They're talking about the globalization and the pursuit of happiness and well-being, which all seem to be something that we all share and is important for us nowadays. All these three influence the workforce and the labor market profoundly. So is this a problem? Well, actually, following a person called Peter Drucker, he says that the greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence. It is to act with yesterday's logic. Yes, we have to change our mindset and consider working differently. This is actually a slide that I really like, and it comes from an interesting article delivered by Deloitte University. And I actually invite you to Google it after the webinar to learn more about their views on the future of work. Deloitte defined that there are 5 drivers. You can see them there. The first one is demographic upheaval, because of course we have the millennials that are working very close to the baby boomers. The second one is technology. Technology is everywhere. It's disrupting the business models, and it's radically changing the workplace and the way work is done. Then we also talk about the speed and the exponential economy. The rate of change has accelerated enormously, forcing organizations to respond and reposition themselves very quickly to tackle new challenges, and also the agile workforce that can help to attain this. And the fourth driver is actually what we're going to talk about today, which is about the new social contracts between the employer and the worker. And this is really a major trend, and it's not going to stop. Talking about total workforce management, it's probably something you have already heard in the past. But the relationship between the employee and the employer is changing. And today, people anticipate working for many employers, and they demand an enriching experience at every stage. I'm sure you recognize yourself in that. It means that we have expectations of a compelling and a flexible workplace, and we want to have a sense of mission and purpose in our work. The popular concept of work as a traditional 9-to-5 job has really disappeared. Millions of self-employed, freelancers, temporary worker, as well as individuals are renting out rooms on Airbnb, or driving for Uber, or selling goods on eBay. They are all part of a significant trend that we call independent work. Therefore, we are talking today about this total workforce management, which is actually in Harvard Business Review, we actually found a very interesting article lately, which is called "Who Wins in the Gig Economy and Who Loses?" And this article shows that we are right. Freelancing is really for the future. But for who? Well, we're talking specifically about workers with specialized skills and deep expertise. They are the ones they say will win in this gig economy. Workers who possess strong technical management and leadership or creative abilities, and then also entrepreneurial workers. But the question is, why will they win? Well, they count on an attractive compensation. They choose to do challenging and interesting work. They can structure their own working life. Is that not great? If you, as an independent worker, are comfortable and excited about developing your own income stream, about marketing yourself and connecting with others, you are actually the best position to take advantage of the main opportunities of this new economy. Today, contingent contracts, part-time or freelance worker, make actually part of 1/3 of the workforce in the United States. That is a lot. That means that 1 out of 3 US workers are freelancers. And it's a figure that is actually expected to grow by 40% by 2020. And you can see yourself that in other countries as well in Europe, there's a rise. Worldwide freelancers represent a significant segment of all workforces. The freelance economy is not going away. It just started, and it's growing, and actually the best is yet to come. Companies like Airbnb and Uber have derived their whole competitive advantage from these workers. And maybe you will also in the future. So if you consider to be a freelancer, don't hesitate, because on a global scale, we see that freelancing is increasing. And we see that, and this will also actually be the case for Latin America. The concept, we feel actually that the concept is still new today, but as it is changing in the world, it will also change in Latin America. Also, a trend that is that a lot of people in corporate organizations aren't really engaged in their work. A lot of people are unhappy, and we know from our experience that freelance people are far more happier if they are independent and working for themselves. We actually also hear from client companies that support functions will disappear. Overhead costs are way too costly for the company in the future. HR functions will disappear, and the role will actually be taken by freelancer. Because the freelancer has expertise, a freelancer has added value from day one, and they can work on very specific subjects. Asking a permanent position holder actually to do the same job in your company means that you have to have somebody who has to learn how to solve the problem. And this takes time, and it also costs money. Already a lot of companies know that they will work with freelancers because they can have better results and save costs. So yes, the best is yet to come. So the big question is, are you ready to quit your job and start up your own business? We are sure that the market is ready in Europe and the US. But do you think the market is actually ready in Latin America? It would be very nice if you could share your comments in the chat box, because we would very much appreciate your feedback and see if you share the same insights as us. HRbuilders did some research actually in 2017, and we asked our freelance community if they would consider returning to a permanent position. And this was very interesting actually, because you can see in the results that people chose to become a freelancer will very unlikely go back to their permanent position. So the survey conclusions are that most independent workers have actively chosen their working style and report high levels of satisfaction with it. That's absolutely great. So what are the reasons why people actually want to become a freelancer? And here we have them. The most important is the flexibility and the freedom. Who doesn't dream of flexibility and freedom in their work? And they have the choice to choose their own project, when they want to do them, and where they want to do them. You can do different things in different contexts. You can work in different industries, in different regions, and maybe why not in different countries? And that will definitely impact your learning curve. So the choice is a critical determinant of satisfaction in someone's working life. And we all share that. But yes, we also have to be totally transparent. And there are some disadvantages with freelancing. You can see on the slide here that the uncertainty is the biggest one. Unfortunately, we cannot guarantee that you'll be having a job permanently with us. And yes, it will be difficult also to plan ahead. We are very transparent about this, that there are disadvantages. But if you look at freelancers, you also see that they are much more happier than when they were with a permanent position. Uncertainty is, of course, linked to the economic situation. But today in Europe, we actually have more assignments than freelancers. Today, it's difficult to close a need because all good freelancers have work and find it very easily to find new projects. They can choose. In less certain economical times, we hear that freelancers sometimes can choose a project that is less interesting or that they need lower competencies. But doing a project also in your comfort zone from time to time can also be nice. So what still needs to be done, though? And we know that in Latin America, there still has a lot of things to be done. And it's also up to the freelancer to find a few solutions around those concerns, around the policymaker, the innovator, organization, independent workers. But we can also help as the core role. If you see the first one, the area of concern for independent worker is their limited access to income security protection, such as unemployment, insurance, workers' compensation, disability insurance. Also, minimum wage does not apply to freelancers, and retirement security is also a concern. Other potential hurdles include reduced access to credit, the risk of perhaps not being paid for work that is already performed. But of course, working with us here at HRbuilders, we will protect you against this risk because we absolutely guarantee you good contracts and make sure that you will be paid on time and also correctly. This is very important for us. And my last point is actually my recommendation for you as a potential freelancer. I think it's very important that you can offer differentiated skills. Either you become a real expert in a certain field. So for example, you can be an expert in mergers and acquisition, in change, in employer branding, HRIS. Or in the context of HR, you can also be a very good generalist who is able to work in all kinds of different settings and industries. That can also be a very big added value. So in our experience, what is it about the job that an interim manager has to do? Well, he can help companies to deal with unusual and complex situations. For example, the typical ones are restructuring, or it can also be to manage day-to-day operations or replace someone who's sick or someone who went on a maternity leave. The duration, within HRbuilders Europe, we see that an average of our assignments can take between 6 to 18 months or even more. We actually also have interim managers working on assignments for more than 2 years. Most freelancers define additional projects in companies later where they work. They also see opportunities whilst being there where they can save costs, and they are able to prove to the company that they will also make them save some money. So the project can rather be easily sold. But who can be sure to have a job for life these days? Well, good interim managers with a certain expertise, they already have the choice to choose what they want to do and which projects they want to work. And it's actually very rare that they don't have a job. But how to minimize that uncertainties, that's always through developing a good network. And we know it's really important for you as an interim manager. When you decide to become a freelancer, you should be working on your network every day. Where would the freelancers find work? Well, you can see in this slide that friends and family are very important. Don't underestimate when you actually go to a party that you can just tell people that you're freelancing and telling them what you're doing. Also stay very much in contact with your professional contacts. It's very important. Look on social media. We at HRbuilders, we actually post all our assignments on our website. You can follow us on Twitter. There's also a lot of freelance platforms out there when you can scroll and see opportunities. And there's even a lot of companies who are posting their freelance assignments already on LinkedIn. The freelancers who develop a long-term relationship with our matchmakers here at HRbuilders, who attend our events, have absolutely more chance to be called regularly for new assignments. People can sometimes send us a mail, but the ones who just send us actually one mail, they're actually disappointed for not being contacted. Because for us, it's actually very important to know where you are and where you are working. If you stay out of sight and if you stay out of working memory, for us suddenly we don't have you under the radar anymore. So it's very important that you stay connected with us and you let us know what you are working on. Now, let me talk you briefly a little bit about HRbuilders. Not to do a promotion, but just to tell you how the interim agency works and how we can help you to build a freelancer career. Here are the 4 values that we share that are commitment, authenticity, transparency, and enthusiasm. These are very important for us. And you see the boat there behind. This is actually where the office is. The main office of HRbuilders is situated in Ghent, that's in Belgium, and they are all working in that office. I will tell you, it's a dream office. At HRbuilders, our HR is actually our DNA. We only have one expertise and we stick to that expertise, that is HR. The founder of the company is Catherine de Vos, and we have 3 matchmakers who actually focus on the Belgian market, 4 who focus on Europe, and 3 who focus on Latam, which is me, Silvia, and Eduardo. Silvia and Eduardo are both based in Mexico. And all our matchmakers have actually more than 10 years of experience in various HR domains. So let me tell you why HRbuilders. Well, we work only on temporary assignments, short-term, long-term, full-time, part-time. However, sometimes temporary assignment can become a permanent assignment, and we are flexible. However, our starting point will always be temporary and not fixed, because the people in our network make the choice to become freelancers, and this is really a mindset that is important for us. We are the number 1 in our domestic market. We have a growing international presence in Europe, and we actually have more than 2,400 HR interim managers in our network. Those persons have been screened in person, so every week each of us have actually a wide range of interviews to get to know them. We talk about the preferences, the specialities of each one, the language skills, and in what countries they would like to work, and also what missions you actually like to do. So today, on average, of those 2,400 people, 78 are working for us in a current assignment, and we have 26 international projects running. We just started the experiment for Latin America, And we are in the process of discovering how the market is here. And we would also investigate if our model will work. However, if you are interested to work for us as a freelancers, don't hesitate to contact us after the interview, so we can have a talk and add your details to our long list of potential freelancers. And when we will have an open assignment that corresponds to your profile, we will contact you in order to discuss and see if you like the position, if you're available for the position, and if you're a good candidate for the position. Let me show you some numbers. We have actually been for 10 years in the business. So a month ago, we actually celebrated our 10th anniversary. We are the #1 in Belgium. And until today, we have managed about 400 assignments. 35% of our revenue is from international. And in Belgium, it takes us about 1 week to find an interim manager for an assignment. And in Western European countries, 2 weeks to solve a client's problem. So today in Europe, if a client asks us for an interim manager, we start immediately looking in our database and check. And normally within 1 week, we can present an available candidate with the right skills and the right fee. Let me show you the companies with whom we have worked. We have worked with more than 175 companies. And you can see here on the slide that we have some worldwide international companies from all over the world. Some recent contracts we closed was actually an HR director in the UK, Ireland for Sanofi in London, a change communication manager in EMEA for Estée Lauder in Paris, or an HR business partner for Christian Dior. So we actually have a wide variety, and we hope to soon be able to work with these companies in Latin America. So what kind of positions do we have within HRbuilders? In the top 3 lists, we have generalists. So we're talking about HR managers, HR business partners, or HR directors as generalists. Then we have talent acquisition, which is around recruitment, and it can be from operational to a management position. 10% are hard HR assignments, especially around compensation and benefits and payroll. What is really important for you as freelancers is that we stay in touch with our network. So if you do have an assignment, please tell us or send us a mail. You can just send us a mail. We will send you all the details to say, hi, Sophia, Jennifer, Sylvia, I'm going on an assignment. I'm not going to be available for 6 months, but I will keep you updated when I'm available again. Because then, perhaps in 6 months, we can then, whenever we get an assignment, also mark that down and know that you will be available again. Just by keeping on updated with a short email, that's very sufficient. It will help us to keep you in the loop and also in our working memory. Here are the typical events that we are organizing in Europe. So we love to organize events and gathers with HR professionals, also to share some content and to network. And eventually we will organize some events also in Latin America. But the connection with our people is very important. And as you can see on those pictures, we have a lot of fun. Another important point is that you as a freelancer, you should also think about your own development. You should stay updated. It's important to be a trendsetter, to try to get attention via the social media and show that you're an expert. Because we, as an agency, we can sell you as a senior expert who will then bring value from day one to the company. Here you have some of our freelancers that are flexible and agile towards all types of environments, sensitive to diversity. I mean, this is just some from our long, long list. So please, really, do not hesitate to contact us so we can get to know you, and hopefully one day we will be able to work together. So, coming to an end to this webinar, also talking a little bit about the outlook for Latin America. We are very enthusiastic. We have talked already to a lot of freelancers who have joined our network. We are also talking to a lot of companies right now to try to get to know them, to understand their needs, and see if they would be able to consider freelancers. So everything seems to be very positive, but we are also, this is very new, so we are quite green. This is our first webinar. We plan to organize some event later in the year, perhaps. So really try to build on that network. But if you have any questions on where we are, how we are, please really do send them in the chat box or send us a mail, and we would love to meet you and have you to help us to grow the network. Thank you very much for everyone for your attention. Hopefully we'll meet you very soon. Have all a very good day, and we'll stay connected a little bit more in the chat box so we can get your questions. Thank you.